Now in this video, I'm going to show you some live editing of a wedding I shot just last weekend and how I can get through thousands of photos culling in a really short period of time and actually enjoy it at the same time. So first things first, for my culling process, I am not going to be using Lightroom. Lightroom is slow to be culling on. Even if you render one-to-one previews, it's still super slow. What I'm going to show you here, which is called Fast Raw Viewer. In Fast Raw Viewer, as soon as the photo comes up, it's there ready for you to look, rate, and move on to the next one, and that's what we want. I've got an Xbox controller plugged into my Mac, and that is synced up with all these keys to do different functions in Fast Raw Viewer, which means I can very quickly rate and cull things as I go, and the whole process actually becomes fun. Now here's Fast Raw Viewer, and I love Fast Raw Viewer because everything about it is fast. As soon as you skip to an image, it's there ready for you to see, and it's showing us the JPEG previews, right? It's not showing us the raw files, which is why the colors look a bit desaturated, by things that are a little bit off. But that's all we need to see when we think about culling. We don't need to see the finished product. So I have my joystick mapper set up so that I use the shoulder keys on my Xbox controller to go left and right. And then I have the button X to reject something, and you'll see it marks it as red right there. And then I have the button A to unmark it and to not reject it as well. So I can very quickly skip through, hitting the shoulder buttons like this and marking as I go whatever I want. And that's why this process is both fun and fast, because I'm going to be very quickly whipping through. Now the key here is to focus on variation, how you create a good portfolio that's got a varied number of shots for your end client. So any photo that comes up which is either a complete miss, or maybe it's out of focus, or maybe there's just nothing interesting happening, or if it's a photo that doesn't have any real addition to the portfolio, addition to the variation, it's gonna get culled, it's gonna get marked. And I want you to start being really super aggressive about how much you cull and make those decisions very quickly in your head. If it's a maybe, we're gonna keep it for now, because later on we're gonna do a second cull and we're gonna thin out all of the chaff then. But for this first cull, anything that's just a non-starter, or you've got something else that looks like it, just mark it and we're gonna get rid of it right here. So these few first pictures right here, these are obvious ones, right? I've got 3 sunset pictures here, and you can see they're all fairly similar, and clearly that third one is the best, so I'm literally just gonna skip through. I'm just gonna go XX, skip through, and I keep that one. Easy peasy. And then when you get to something creative like this, here I've got a nice sun coming through the window, and I've got a nice shot like this one as well. Which one do I like better? Well, this one's a bit more interesting, so I'm just gonna mark this one as cold, and it is gone. Here I'm just flipping back and forward with my shoulder buttons going, what do I think? What do I think? Which one's the keeper? Which one's the keeper? And this is something that's going to take you a little bit of time to get to, right? Being this fast, being this aggressive, knowing what you want, is going to take a little bit of time for you to get to right here. But the faster you get here, the better a photographer it's going to make you, because your workflow is so important. People are paying you for your time. If you end up spending 20 hours in the editing room afterwards, then all the time you're getting paid for to do this work is going down and down by the hour. My end-to-end workflow of taking 2,500 photos, culling them down to 400 or 500, then editing them, and then usually losing about another 50 to 100 or so when I go into the edit. That entire process will take me about 4 to 5 hours, right? The entire thing. Look at that bar down the bottom. This is how quickly I'm going through. If I think it's something that's worth keeping, I will keep it, right? I'm not going to throw away something that I think might have potential. If I don't, then I'm just going to chuck it. And remember, the client will only see the photos that you provide them. They're not going to miss out on the photos that you decide to cull. The client would never have known that photo even existed, so how could they want it? They can't. It's only in your mind. And what I will do as I go along is I've also got buttons on my joystick to actually mark things if I really like them as well. So if I think something's particularly good, I'll mark it in, say, green. If I think it might be something that makes it into a video, might make it into a short list of the best shots from the day. I won't get into ratings. If you get too into ratings, you're gonna lose too much time. If you go, oh, is that a 3 or a 4 or a 5? Doesn't matter at this point. You can see here, tiny little variations in this shot. doesn't make a difference, right? When they're all this close, it doesn't make a difference whether I go with, you know, this one or this one. They're so identical, it makes no difference. Just make a decision, move on, move on. The reason I'm not keeping any of these and I'm like selecting all the reds after this is because I've already got this photo here, right? I've got this one. This is the cleaner of the shots, right? So I don't need to keep this one, for example. They add no variation if I were to keep the other ones. They're all the same shot, the shot being her in the mirror. And I can assure you, all those photos you think you're gonna come back to and you say to yourself, oh, maybe I want that in 6 months or 9 months, never ever return to them. And you know, they're just not gonna be something you come back to. You've got better things to be focusing on, which is how do you take even more great photos than you do trying to decide on whether one photo is 10% better than another photo. So here you go, here's all my images right now, and you can see all the red ones that I've marked. Anything that I've rejected, I'm gonna move into a folder over here on the left, just called rejected over here. I'm just gonna dump it, I'm gonna throw away all of those, and after I do that, it's gonna halve or perhaps, you know, third all the photos that I've got so far. It's gonna cull tons and tons of stuff. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back for a second cull later on, and that's where I'm going to go through this again, where I have all of the shortlisters and I'm gonna compare them side by side, and then I'm gonna decide which ones I want. And that's the kind of beginning and the end of how you make culling faster. Quick decisions, a good workflow, a good way to view your photos very, very quickly, and a really good sense of how you add variation and what doesn't. So I hope that was helpful, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, go down and hit that subscribe button and make sure you subscribe for more updates, and smash that notifications bell if you want to get notified when the next video comes out as well. There'll be lots more like this. This is just my first attempt at Lightroom tutorial, so if you've enjoyed this, let me know and I can put even more production into the next one. But thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.